One of the most important aspects of online business is also one of the more fun things that we do, and that is content. Content is the bread and butter of your online business. It's what helps people discover who you are, what problem you solve, and if you solve their problem. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start making and sharing content as you start your online business. We're going to go into what makes good content, what makes a good piece of content, and how to structure your content plan. If you're just joining me, I am doing a series about how to start a thriving online business. And it's actually step-by-step through my free guide, which is called the Super Simple Guide to Starting a Thriving Online Business. You can pick that up at lanesebring.com/supersimple. It's the PDF version of what we're discussing here. In fact, I'm going to look over at it. And if you see me looking off the screen, I'm looking at the guide, the PDF guide that you can have in your hands if you go to lanesebring.com/supersimple. And if you're new here, my name's Lane. I love to help people replace their 9-to-5 income by starting thriving online businesses without hustle, grind, or having to build a large social media following. If you're into that kind of thing, be sure to subscribe and give this video a like, because that does help. And I rarely ask, I probably should ask more, but do that if you want to see more of this content. By the way, if you missed step 3, you can find that video right up there. Step 4 is start making and sharing content. Content is the front door of your online business. It's a non-intrusive way to offer value to your audience, which will grow your reach. The reason why I love the process of marketing with content is that it is so non-intrusive. It's not interrupting anybody's experience. It's just content. It's going to show up at the right times to the right people when they need it if you do a few things right. And this is especially true the longer you make content for the people that are in your target audience and inside of your niche. The more you make it, the longer you make it, the easier it is for different platforms to know when to surface that content to the right people. And so that will start to happen. And it has this benefit of just kind of automatically growing your reach, organically growing your reach without you having to pay for that traffic. So there's 2 ways to get reach, or traffic is what it's called. One way is paid traffic. This is where you run ads. You pay to get your content shown to the people who are in your target audience. And that is one strategy to go with, and it's fine. If you can do that and you know how and you have the budget to spend the money, then that's okay. The reason why I always suggest starting with free organic content is because the leads that you get from free organic content are going to be way warmer from the very start than someone that you get with paid traffic. Think about these 2 ways of discovering a content creator. One way is the free organic paid traffic, or free organic way that I discuss. The other one is the paid traffic way. The free organic way, what happens with that person is, let's say that they go to YouTube. That is my platform of choice. That's probably where you're watching this. They go to YouTube and they have a problem. They have a question. They have a problem they need solved. They have a question they need answered. So they go to YouTube and they go to the search and they search for the answer to that question or the solution to that problem. And on the other side of that search, they see you and you solve their problem or you answer their question. Let me give you an example of how this happened for me in my preaching business, Preaching Donkey. That's my other online business. Over and over and over again, pastors would go to YouTube and type in, how do I write a sermon outline? And they would find my video about how to write an outline. Or they would say, how do I come up with new illustrations? And they'd find me giving them ideas about how to come up with new illustrations. Or how do I speed up the sermon prep process because I'm out of time? And they find me on the other side of that search. Well, over and over and over again, they're going to YouTube, they're putting in search terms, and they're finding me organically. I didn't pay for that. That's the beauty of it. I just made videos that targeted the specific people that I wanted inside of the niche that I'm teaching, and they found me. YouTube put us together. Well, because my content is geared towards generating leads, I don't just say, hey, see ya, thanks for being here, see you next time. I point people to the lead magnet, which then puts them on my email list, which then sells them my products. My content is the absolute front door. Same thing happens on this channel. I've had this conversation so many times. For about the first 400 people that signed up for Kajabi using my link, I did a one-on-one call with about 400 people. And in these one-on-one calls, when I would talk to them about the importance of content, because so many people, even though they want to get into online business, they still don't understand how vital it is to have a good content strategy and to do this well. What I would always walk them through is I would say, the reason why you and me are sitting here having this conversation is because of my content. If it weren't for my content, you wouldn't know who I am and you wouldn't care. I would have no way of showing you that I can help you if it were not for my content being the front door that showed you that I can help. And I would tell them what they did to find me. I said, you probably went to YouTube and searched, how do I start a business? How do I start an online business? How do I start a business on Kajabi? Is Kajabi good? How is it priced compared to other things? Do I need it? And I said, you probably found me on the other side of those search terms, as well as other people, but you found me enough, and I answered your question enough, and I solved your problem enough times to where eventually you took my call to action and you signed up for a free trial with Kajabi. And now here we are having this conversation because of my content. And every single time that I would explain this to someone, and I did this hundreds of times, they would look at me and go, yeah, you're right. Like, we don't see it because we're in the middle of it. Like, we don't see it because we're the ones that are doing it. But when they would take a second to take a step back, they would go, yeah, that is the exact process. I had this one guy, he was kind of combative. He said, well, there's other people making videos about Kajabi. I'm like, yeah, I know, dude. Like, they're all my friends. Like, I know I'm not the only one, but you still found me and we're still having this conversation because of my content. Okay. So all of that is free. I didn't pay YouTube to show my videos to anybody. I've never ran ads for this brand. And so all of it is because of my organic traffic. And so when those people come into my email list, when they sign up for Kajabi using my link, they're actually appreciative of me. They're like, wow, you've really served me in amazing ways. And I'm grateful to you for that. Now, let's juxtapose that with paid traffic, what the process looks like when we get paid traffic. Paid traffic is, instead of them voluntarily going to a place like YouTube and looking up what they want to find an answer to, they're scrolling like Facebook or Instagram, and an ad pops up, a sponsored post from me. And I now have to interrupt their scroll, their infinite scroll, and I have to capture their attention, and I have to convince them that what I have to offer is something that they need, and I have to convince them to take the next step with me, when most of the time they have no idea who I am. They're not watching my content. They're not interested in it in that moment. They're not really in the headspace for me and my thing right there. I have a lot of hurdles to overcome. Now, I know it works. If it didn't work, people wouldn't do it. Okay, so it just takes a lot of learning and skill and money and expertise that is hard to have when you're first getting started. And this series is about how to get started. And so my encouragement to you would be, if you're going into online business, make free, organic reach through content your biggest priority, and maximize that before you ever worry about paying for traffic. Because even if down the road you decide, I'm going to go ahead and experiment with Facebook ads or meta ads and run them on Facebook and Instagram, only do that if you've gotten to the point where you are crushing it at content and reaching organically as far and as wide as you can. I have a multiple six-figure online business, and I don't run ads and never have. So you may never need it. I plan to get to 7 figures without running ads. So, and I'm not against ads. Sometimes people will talk to me and say, well, I know you're against ads. I'm not against it. I just don't do it. And I don't recommend it until you have maximized your organic reach. So the bottom line of the content strategy that you need to have is this: make at least one piece of valuable content each week, share it with your target audience, and invite them to download your lead magnet. At a minimum, that is it. If you can do more than one piece of content a week, if you can do like 2 or even 3, that's great. But it is far better to be consistent over time than it is to just have like a rush of content up front and then disappear for 3 months. Okay, a lot of times people do that. They jump into this and they say, once a week isn't enough. That's terrible. That's kind of embarrassing. I'm going to do every day. I'm going to post a video every day, 3 times a week, 5 times a week. And so they do that for a week. And then that's it. And then they're like burned out and you don't see them and they wonder why their business isn't getting traction. It would have been far better, instead of posting 5 videos in a week, it would be far better to post 1 video a week for 5 weeks, because now I'm showing up every week for 5 weeks. Instead of 5 times overwhelming everybody, nobody's paying attention anyway because you haven't established a following yet, and there's just 5 videos just floating around in the ether rather than spacing it out a little bit. Now, what I would suggest is 1 pillar piece of content, 1 major piece of content a week, and then share it in different ways on social media if you can. But 1 piece of valuable content each week, share it with your target audience and invite them to download your lead magnet. And when I say share it with your target audience, I mean really focus it on the keywords that your target audience is going after, what they're searching for, and then share it with your email list. Even if you only have a small email list, every time you post a piece of content, share it with your list. Say, hey, I posted something new today. I think you'll really like it. It will help you in this way, this way, this way. Check it out here. And then finally, invite them to download your lead magnet. That is crucial to this process. You do not want to waste a piece of content by not inviting them to download your lead magnet. At the top of this video, I mentioned the Super Simple Guide. That is my lead magnet for this series, and it's also my primary lead magnet that I used. We talked about lead magnets in the last video of the series, but here's the problem. A lot of times, people who get into online business, they don't understand, and I made this mistake for years over at Preaching Donkey. They don't understand the vital connection between content and your lead magnet. Those things are so connected. And here's why. Your content's job is not to just build a big audience. It's not to just garner a bunch of recognition and get a bunch of clicks and followers and subscribers and likes. It's not for that. And this is why I'm able to say that I can help you build a thriving online business without a large social media following. Because if you do content right, you don't need a large following. So if content isn't for all those things, what is it for? Content is your lead generating tool. It's how people find you. It's how you find people. It's how you connect what you do, the problem you solve, the questions you answer to the people who need those problems solved and need those questions answered. Well, it doesn't do its job as a lead generating tool unless the people watching your content know how to get on your email list. And they're not going to get on your email list if you say, sign up for my newsletter, right? Sign up here so I can bother you with more email. Nobody wants that. What they want is a resource, a tool, something that will help them at an even deeper level. And if they're watching your content and they're being helped by it, it's an easy next step to say, if you want to go deeper with this, here is my free resource, my PDF guide, my checklist, my free workshop that you can attend, my audio training, whatever it is. We did a whole thing on lead magnets. You can watch that video. My point is this. In your content, you just don't know which pieces of content are going to pop off and go into the stratosphere and which pieces of content are not. And so never, ever, ever waste a piece of content by not mentioning your lead magnet. And you can weave it in a very natural way. I mean, with this series, this lead magnet, the Super Simple Guide, is so closely connected to this series that I push it really hard. And very obviously, I'm like, look, if I'm teaching through this PDF guide. So if you want like the notes to these videos, basically is what I'm saying, where you have it in your hands and you can like take it and run with it, then go to lanesebring.com/supersimple. So I'm being very like obvious with it. But there are other times where I'm much more casual, right? Where maybe the video is about something that's kind of tangentially related to online business. Like I plan on doing a video about a CNBC video that they did about how $100,000 is not enough to live on anymore. Okay, that's a video that they did about $100,000 salary. I'm going to probably do a video about that, and I'm going to say something like, and by the time this comes out, this video may already be out. So there you go. But I'm going to say something like, hey, $100,000 isn't enough, and yet salaries aren't rising above that. So let's look at what it takes to make $100,000 in online business. So I'm going to make a video about that. Well, in that video, this will probably be the lead magnet that I push, and I will say, hey, if you want a guide to starting an online business that could get to $100,000, lanesebring.com/super simple. Pick it up. It's your free guide, my gift to you. And then I'll move on and go back to the video. So it doesn't have to be this massive push. I just wouldn't want. Like, imagine if I made a video like that about CNBC and I'm reacting to a story. And that's like the one video that just pops off and goes crazy. And I get, for me, going crazy would be like, it gets like 500 views or 1,000 views. Again, you don't need to grow large. I am a testament to that. If you look through my videos, the views are very, very small, but it's a multiple six-figure online business because they are targeted views and they drive people to action that leads to putting money in my pocket. So big doesn't always mean profitable, and small doesn't always mean it's not making money. Sometimes you can have a small channel and big money, and that's what I teach you how to do. So I will put it in every piece of content because I don't want to miss that opportunity. Because let's say that I do a video about the CNBC article, for example, and it gets 15,000 views, which would be huge for my channel. Well, that's 15,000 people who probably don't know who I am. And some of those people might be interested in online business, and it would kill me to miss out on generating those leads. So again, every single piece of content. Now we're going to talk about picking a medium and getting started. There's 3 mediums: written, audio, video. Written, think about blog post. Audio, think about podcast episodes. Video, think about YouTube videos, like what we're doing here. I recommend starting with YouTube channel. It's the quickest way to get found by your target audience, as they're going to YouTube every day searching for information on your topic. This is what we talked about at the beginning of this video. I think YouTube is amazing. It's the biggest search engine in the world, second to Google, but it's also owned by Google, so it's the same thing. But it has a massively powerful search function, and people go to YouTube looking for answers to their questions, solutions to their problems. And if you can be on the other side of those searches, you will win. Right here, I have a video, or maybe it's up there, one of those. I have a video about podcasting versus YouTube channel, which to start first. It will help you decide if you're trying to decide between those two. I will say, if you do a written post, if you do written content, don't just do a blog on your website. Nobody's going to your website. Nobody knows about it. Nobody cares about it. Google hasn't even indexed it or crawled it or any of that stuff yet. What you want to do if you're going to do written is use a platform like Medium or LinkedIn or Twitter, one of those where you can grow an audience around that writing and then draw them in with your free resource, lead magnet, whatever. If you do written content, your lead magnet is very, very helpful if it's a newsletter, a branded newsletter. But anyway, that's written. Audio, you want to do a podcast. Video, you want to do YouTube videos, and some combination. You could do a combination of all 3. You could do a combination of video and audio. Again, in that video, I talk about where to start. I recommend starting with a YouTube channel, and then you can add the podcast element later. But again, when you're starting out, you really want to focus on what you can actually do now and what you can do consistently. Way too many people jump into this and go, I'm going to do it all from the very start. And I appreciate the excitement that happens when you first start your business. You have to be disciplined, though, and do what is sustainable, because most likely you're probably still working a job and you just don't have all the time in the whole world. And so you want to be careful with what you commit yourself to, and you want to be careful about burnout. So each week when you release a piece of content, number one, in your video, invite people to download your lead magnet. This will subscribe them to your email list, which is hugely important to the process. This is what we talked about ad nauseum in this video already. Invite people to download your lead magnet. Invite people to download your lead magnet. If you don't do that, you are wasting a perfectly good piece of content that could do its job, which is generate leads, but now it's not. Now it's just doing the job of like maybe gathering an audience, and you can hope that they come back, but that's not guaranteed. When I first started doing Preaching Donkey, I did not have a lead magnet for the longest time. I thought it was a bigger deal than it needed to be. I thought it was more complicated than it needed to be. Kajabi helped me with a lot of this because Kajabi simplified a lot of steps for me, because before Kajabi, I had MailChimp and I had MailChimp, then I moved over to ConvertKit, then I was trying to figure out how do I make all this stuff work. And then I had a self-hosted WordPress site. I had my podcast over at Libsyn. I was on YouTube. I was doing all this stuff. Massive tech stack, did not know how to make it all work. Kajabi's fixed all that. By the way, if you're not on Kajabi, you can get a 30-day free trial using my link, lanesebring.com/Kajabi. You get 3 pretty amazing bonuses: my course, the Kajabi Accelerator, my free exclusive masterclass, the top 3 mistakes that new Kajabi users make that I discovered helping 400 people get their start, And then you also get the 25K course launch email template. All three of those are yours just to say thank you for using my link, because it is an affiliate link, obviously, but at no additional cost to you. I get a small commission when you sign up using my link. The lead magnet for me became way easier when I jumped onto Kajabi and I started doing it. But before that, I would literally just do a piece of content. And at the end of it, I'd be like, that's it. That's the end of my video. See you next week. Right? It was like I was aimless in my content. Don't be aimless. And number two, send the content to your email list. This keeps your email subscribers engaged. A lot of times, this is again, you just don't know until you know. But a lot of times people will say, what do I do with my email list if I'm not like launching a product? Well, you have to keep them engaged. Well, how do I keep them engaged? Well, you do a piece of content every week. Just send it to your list and say, hey, I got a new, valuable, amazing piece of content for you. Go check it out. Because then you get an influx of viewers, because those people are the most likely to click and watch. So now all of a sudden YouTube goes, hey, this is cool. 400, 500, 1,000, 600, whatever. These people all just came over and watched it. Or even 50 or even 20. They all clicked and watched. That's great. So you want to do that. And it also, even if they ignore the email, even if they don't open it, they're still seeing you. You're still popping up. You're still popping up with value, so that when you go to launch a product or do a promotion, you're a known quantity. You're not coming out of nowhere. And then finally, share it on social media. This will give you the opportunity to reach new people. The way I like to think about social media, apart from your pillar content, apart from like YouTube or a podcast or your written posts, if you're just thinking about social media, I like to think about it for discoverability and reach, or relevance rather. So discoverability, meaning that there are people who just won't find you on your main platform, but they might see you pop up on Instagram, and then you can get them over to your main content channels like YouTube, or ideally get them from Instagram to your email list, and then the social media did its job. But if we're talking about starting and making and sharing content, focus on the three main types of three main mediums: written, audio, or video. Pick one for now, pick one, and be strategic about how you post content every week, pointing people to your lead magnet, sharing it with your list, and then sharing it on whatever social media you have. If you do that consistently, if you don't do anything else but this consistently for a year, you will grow an audience. You will have authority with your audience. You will be, for those people, you will be one of the top people they follow for that category, for that thing that you teach. So that and you don't have to do that, you don't have to wait a year, but I'm saying if you have the time and you do this for a year, you will grow an audience. And when the time comes that you launch a product like a course, coaching package, cohort course, whatever, you will have customers. And again, it doesn't take a year, but I'm just using that as an example, because sometimes people go, well, how do I know this is going to work? If you do everything that's in the Super Simple Guide, I promise you, you will see results. The results may vary, but you will see results if you put in the work. And I'd like to hear from you in the comments. What is your content strategy? Are you going to do audio, video, or written? And what is the platform that you're going to share on? And if you already have a content strategy or content plan, share the link to one of your latest pieces of content so we can check it out and we can talk back and forth about how it's going. LaneSebring.com/supersimple. You get the free guide there. I'll see you in the next video.